Hello guys, welcome to another episode of the Match Day Africa podcast, and today I'm with a very senior colleague, not just in the football section but also in age. Please introduce yourself.
Hello guys, I am Samuel Collins, but I'm also known as the Don Zone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you can check him out on Instagram. His views on football. He's an Arsenal fan too, so guys, you have to follow me up today because we'll be throwing them a lot of jabs today. So, Collins.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Today, there is a specific topic that I want us to dive into because me personally, I have my own personal view about it. I would love to also get your views. Our topic today is if modern African stars have done more than the legends of the game.
No, I think that topic it's a very vital one, especially there are a lot of comparison nowadays. The old legends, even in Premier League, not just the international stage. You see those old players back in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
Yes.
I believe there are different eras. So now the media visibility is even more. The systems have changed.
Yes.
Even the sports, the diet, everything has changed, if you ask me. So those players, they did very well, and these players now, they are doing very well because of science as well, technology, the advancement. Now there are more goals, more assists. That's how football is more rated nowadays.
Yeah.
But then they captured their nations. They were like idols, mini gods. Someone like Didier Drogba for Ivory Coast, if you can remember, Ivory Coast, they were going through a turmoil, they had war, but because of his singular heart, the way he carried his team, he was able to stop that war. So their impact, is rated differently from this current generation.
Yes.
So if you ask me, it's just different era, different systems, and I don't think it's fair, criticizing this our current player because they are really doing very well.
Yes.
Especially at club levels like Victor Osimhen right now in Nigeria, is currently trying to break, Yeshe Rakini's record that has stood for a while, so it's a really good topic. Anyways, you can also drop your opinion on that.
Yes, I love as you mentioned Didier Drogba because in my previous episode on YouTube, where I did a line with Intentional Michael, a colleague of mine, we were trying to distinguish between Didier Drogba and Eto'o.
Yeah.
And I made it clear that Didier Drogba had more cultural impact on current African players than Samuel Eto'o. But my question to you is, do you think a player like Didier Drogba, for example, if he was in this era, he would outperform current stars like Osimhen, Mane, Salah, and their likes?
Drogba, as you call it, is a true legend.
No, let me not just put it like Didier Drogba. Let me just say, in that their era, Samuel Eto'o, Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, Kolo Toure, all those guys, if they should be in present football now, do you think they will outperform our current stars we have now?
First of all, Didier Drogba is a big game player. Yes. He may not score so many goals, the eye-catching star like Erling Haaland, Mo Salah, but Drogba, when it matters the most, that's when he lives for those moments.
Yes.
So many matches, occasions, both internationally, for Chelsea, Champions League, like when you won in Munich, 2012. He got that goal, he also scored the winning penalty. So Didier Drogba, for me, in this current era, I don't think he's going to have scored them, but he's a player that will always deliver when it matters. Because when he was playing, it's not like it was even the systems were that bad. He was scoring, but I don't think Didier Drogba, I'm not sure, I stand to be corrected. I don't know if he won the Golden Boot, but I know Mourinho did not win one. But I'm still saying that if he was in this era, I don't know if he would have performed them because at the end of the day, the era he played in, the Premier League facility was there, it was not like it was not that much more, the physios and everything. So that's I don't think I really have performed them like the way they are to be because football has moved, now they are more, programmed, the matches are coming thick and fast. And now another factor is they have more games than that. You can see the Champions League is extended. They have one planning of the Club World Cup that was concluded. They're just trying to make the World Cup also coming next year. It's a format that has been expanded. So you see when these players play more games, you see their stats line is becoming higher, more goals, more assists. So it's for me it's unfair to compare both eras. We should just respect them the way they are. give them props and respect when it's due.
Okay, me personally, I think like depends on the players. There are some players that I feel will perform better in this generation compared to their own generation. As you mentioned, like Didier Drogba. Me personally, I think with the way the sport is now, it's more calculated, more science, more data.
Yeah.
The dieting, everything is well planned. Personally, I feel Didier Drogba would have scored more goals because the team would have been more positioned in a way that he was going to have more improved services and the rest of them, and he will score more goals. But personally, I feel it will be depending on the player. Specific players, they might not perform up to that level. Like someone like Victor Yema, I don't think he would be as good, or he would be regarded as good as he was then now, because with the kind of goalkeepers that invoke now.
Yeah, you have to go with your feet as well, not just with your hands.
Yes,
That's
I don't think
trend.
he would be considered as good currently. Collins, I want to get your own opinion. Do you think without AFCON trophies, legends should still be considered legends in African football?
On that occasion, I don't like using just like a title to classify a good player, because maybe a player didn't win the AFCON, or maybe a player didn't win the World Cup. It's more than that. It's your impact, as a person, as a player, your impact being felt in the team, in your nation, or what you have achieved. Someone like JJ Okocha he might not have played in one of the top. He played in some top teams like Paris Saint-Germain,
Yes.
Bolton, and some clubs in Germany as well.
Yes.
But maybe he didn't play for the Barcelonas, the Real Madrid. And I don't think JJ Okocha scored enough goals for the Super Eagles. But up to now, he's still regarded as a Nigerian great. So it shouldn't be about those players not winning the AFCON. If they have performed in a positive way in their teams, maybe, but don't get me wrong, trophies are important. Some people, they have good careers in their club level, but internationally, they always fall short. So I don't think they not winning the AFCON should portray or just like diminish their success. But you have to show up in those stages. That's where the Africans want to recognize you, and that's how you want to win those individual awards, not just your team winning the trophy. So I think if a player has a good career and maybe he didn't do well much for his nation, maybe the nation does not have those players to his standard or to his quality, because you can see the wealth of talent Senegal has now. That's how they are succeeding. Some players like which country am I going to use for example? Maybe like Mozambique. Mozambique has Ronaldo.
Yes.
I don't think they have any other player. That Ronaldo plays for Sunderland.
Yes.
I don't think they have any player. If you ask me. So if one player is just good in a team, football is not just an individual sport. It's a team sport.
Yes.
Everyone needs to play and perform in their different positions. So one player cannot just win it all for you. Zlatan Ibrahimovic played for Sweden. He was a good player, but the pieces around him, it was lacking. They couldn't get the pieces right for them to, win something. And that era, Belgium, for example, okay, no, Belgium had good players too, but they couldn't get it right. So not just, sometimes it's the environment the player finds himself, or the team, or the nation. If he has good players around him, up to that caliber or standard to achieve success, why not? So I don't think the player not winning the AFCON should downgrade or downplay how much of a good player the person is. If you ask me.
Yes. It's a good one because again, Didier Drogba, for example, he did not win an AFCON trophy, but he's considered one of the best players, if not the best player ever from his country. So their titles shouldn't be, although me, I hold the AFCON trophy at a very, very high regard. It's very, very important for you to achieve that legend status. And I feel it is one thing that is holding Osimhen off of reclassifying him as the legend, because me personally, with the way Osimhen plays and everything, I consider him the greatest striker ever in Nigerian football. If you check my other videos, I've said it before and I'll continue.
That's a big take on you. Many people will disagree with you. You know why? They will like, what are Osimhen achieved? Of course, he has scored goals, but the way we Africans have football is, just like Arsenal. I know it's my club, and many people have told us along. that we've not won trophies. When Wenger was there, we were playing very well, but when you don't have that trophies, you don't have much to come out to brag about. So the goals are important. Romelu Lukaku right now has almost 100 international goals.
Yes.
But has he won anything? Not yet. So it does not command so much respect. The caliber of players, like, let me say, players that have scored over 40 goals and maybe they have trophies in their cabinets.
Yes.
So that trophy, just like the icing on the cake, it's needed. But your point or your opinion on Osimhen being the greatest Nigerian striker, I would disagree with you on that until it delivers something for the national team. Fair enough, whenever he's on the team, you can see our performance, they are elevated. We do well, we play better, because he urges this team. It's like a second captain. He tried to talk to everyone. You can see the passion. He's one of those passionate and patriotic Nigerians. He wants to see the country succeed. That's why sometimes very many people are criticizing him. He's a footballer. You must receive critics the day you play well, the day you don't play well. And he's a human being. There's no one that's above mistakes. Yeah. So he has to win something. For me, Yakubu right now I still consider Yakubu ahead of him. Because Yakubu did a great good things for us. But I think Osimhen, if he can at least get the AFCON and he gets to come, then he can cement his place as the greatest Nigerian striker.
2013 AFCON, was Yakubu there?
I'm not really sure. I can't really say.
I can only remember Emenike.
I think Yakubu should be present if he was not injured, because then he was playing for Everton, playing for, I think, West Brom. He played for a couple of English teams, nothing less than 5 of them. So, but I'm not that sure. So I don't want to make a bold statement. I'm not sure about, but I believe Yakubu, must have won the AFCON. We have to, check to be sure. Anyways.
Now, before we continue, I want to share a hot take of mine personally. I feel personally that if we have better pitches here in Nigeria, and Osimhen is always available, regardless of the injury problems he's having and the rest of them. If he's always available and we have better pitches here in Nigeria, we would be going to the World Cup every 4 years consistently if he's available for this country. That's my personal hot take. Now, I feel he has not won so much for us, but in trying times, in difficult moments, he has always shown up.
Yeah, he steps up in big moments.
Definitely, he steps up. He always performs to the highest level, even when it looks like there is no hope. If Osimhen is there will definitely be some form of hope. Me personally, I did not watch Rashidi Rekine. I did not watch him at all. I've only seen clips of him.
Yeah.
I did not watch him, but I watched Emenike, I watched Anichebe, I watched
Igalo,
Amwebi, Yakubu. I watched Yakubu 2010 World Cup. I watched.
Yeah, I know that the iconic moment where he missed that sitter against South Korea.
Yes,
a 2-2 draw.
Yes, imagine that kind of situation. Now, imagine we have a Victor Osimhen there. Do you think we would miss that opportunity?
See, it's about context. All of all these things, even the best players, the Messi, the Ronaldo, Carlos Tevez missed a sitter that was worse than what's his name, Yakubu missed. I've forgotten who they were playing. It was just like a square play pass from the bar line to him. He flopped his line, played the ball over the bar, and it was a much easier chance than the one Yakubu missed. So sometimes, I believe you have played football, your early days. Sometimes the ball does not connect with your foot the way you want it to connect. You may want to jab the ball, but it just, grazes your foot and goes the wrong way. So in that moment, we as fans, we always complain. At that moment, we continue to want Yakubu for. As Nigerians, we are that petty.
Yes.
Even I myself, I will complain. How can you miss that? How can you miss that? But you yourself, you played football, you have missed goals that you should score. So sometimes it can be the moment. Even Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, they miss a lot of good chances. Alan misses sitters as well.
Yes.
That's a moment that will go down in history as sort of a great misses. But I think by now, we should move past it and try to hope for the future.
Yeah.
Morocco now, they became the first African team to go to the semi-finals.
Yes.
And I believe if Nigeria would have had the chance to showcase their talent, especially the way we played in this AFCON, it would have caused real havoc in this World Cup. No. Because we have lots of quality in that team. and it's such a shame that we're not making this World Cup. Honestly.
Now, you mentioned context. I'll mention situation on an opportunity.
Yeah.
If Osimhen is opportune enough to be in that kind of situation where we had Yakubu, me personally, and I also believe you would also agree with me that Osimhen would have given more compared to
hold on a
Yakubu.
minute, I just remembered something. Do you remember the chance Osimhen missed that he was supposed to, he had the one-on-one with the goalkeeper? I think it was a World Cup qualifier. That match made us to go to extra time. Do you remember? That everyone was amazed. No, they later won the game and he scored 2 goals in the extra time. It was one of the playoffs. I think it was against Gabon.
Okay.
He missed the one-on-one chance. He had all the time in the world to think where to put the ball. Should I go around the keeper? Should I just place the ball into the net? But he missed the target entirely. It was not on target. So Yakubu could have scored that,
Yes.
So it can be seen in different ways.
Yes.
This is me telling you situations that could happen. Now you feel like Smith could have put that away. Of course he could have.
Yes.
Yakubu also could have scored that chance because he had so many chances, when he was playing, and he's playing with Yakubu. You know how he flinches now.
Yes.
The ball comes, he doesn't do too much, he just picks his spot.
He just picks his spot.
So
most times tap-ins.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, there are different moments. Osimhen has missed his own too. That day, if you were on Twitter, you could see the backlash. People were trolling him, but he scored 2 goals. Everybody was quiet.
Yes,
that's football for you. So any player at any given day can miss a big opportunity, and Yakubu missed his opportunity. That match was supposed to take us to the knockout stage. I think the round of 16 then, but it was not meant to be. So Osimhen could have scored. Yakubu, so it's just how we have our different opinions. Then you said something again about if we have better pitches in Nigeria. When you are playing World Cup or African Cup of Nations qualifiers, you don't just play at home. You also go away.
Yeah.
If you have better conditions, better support from your Nigeria crowd, we should make home advantage count. Whenever any nations come to play in Nigeria, the stadium, Gospel Abado Stadium in Akwa Ibom State, was built a couple of years. It was considered the best stadium, but because of what's about Africa is when there's infrastructure, when there's development, we don't maintain.
Yes, the maintenance.
There's no maintenance. You go to the stadium, you see the buildings are becoming dilapidated. The pitches, they are worn out. Most of those pitches, how many of them did they water those pitches? Just like the Europeans. You look at Morocco. You see Morocco, although they are very advanced, they are country, also they're in North Africa, they live their life like the Westerners.
Yes.
So I love your point. If the pitches were better, we had home support. We are a country of over 200 million people.
Yeah, 230 million.
No, I'm just saying over 200 million. Even our Nigeria Premier League. I mean, have you ever gone to watch any Nigeria Premier League match?
The one I went to when they are still in this Liberation Stadium. Ever since then,
we don't have passion for our football. You can't blame. You can't blame us. You know why? Because even the country we are, they are not investing much in sports.
Yes.
You know how many talents that are wasting every day on the streets. You and I, your friends, when we grow, one of us could have been a great footballer because we had the talent. But where was the support? There was no scholarships. There was no grassroots. How many scouts were coming to watch football matches? So many talents just went by. Even athletics, not just football.
Yes.
So many people can run record times, but we don't have the opportunity to showcase ourselves. We're a great African country. We are blessed in many ways.
Yes.
Many Africans are representing other countries and thriving. It's such a shame that the government, are not doing much so many sports in Nigeria are not. Have you ever seen a Nigerian swimmer?
Never.
The Nigerians they golf. Even long tennis. Currently, there are so many black players that are thriving, but because I know tennis is a very expensive sport. It's an individual sport whereby you need sponsorship. Both you have to pay your code, everything about your sport, traveling, logistics is done by you. So if you are not that buoyant, or if you are not that privileged, you can't do that. Or cricket, just like South Africa thrives in, do we have a rugby squad?
Nope.
You see, so many sports whereby can come to Nigeria, try to create more awareness in our schools. There are schools they do physical education. We just learn without much practice. I believe sports can make us more global than we are, and the talent is there. They should come out with schemes, programs to promote this, to promote sports in different levels, grassroots, I love what the Nigerian basketball team is doing, the female especially. I've forgotten the name they call them.
Tigress.
Yeah, the Tigress. You can see they're always representing in the continent. Even the women World Cup comes, you see them, they do very well. The Nigerian men, the level is not up to that. Just like I love what the Sudan, Sudan, because of war, their country is divided into two.
Yes.
Especially South Sudanese team. I don't know if you know a basketball player called Bobo and some other few. They play in the I don't know if you follow the NBA. Now, what the South Sudan are doing now, I think an individual or like a charity or an organization, they took it upon themselves to develop basketball players. They have this camp on whereby they recruit players, they have the height, they train them, and once in a while they come scouts around the world, come to that place to pick players. And many players have been drafted. Yeah. Check the NBA right now, they have more than 10 South Sudanese players currently actively playing now. So Nigeria, we need to do better to try to promote not just football, sports in general.
Yes. Because
it's going to take us global than the way we are. And the talent is there.
Yes. Yes. Before we move away from the topic at hand, I like your passion, definitely. So let's just move to the next thing at hand. But before we do that, personally, I feel we have not produced a striker up to Osimhen's level. But that would be a topic for another day.
Oh, you're so bent on Osimhen. Fine, now he's a good player,
Yes.
Club-wise, and I don't like the way he's been disrespected.
Yes.
Imagine the year they won the league in Napoli. Those Italians, they idolize Cavachele more than him, and that pains me a lot. Because without Victor Osimhen goals that season, they don't win that league.
They won
the Golden Boots that season. And I was shocked when they made Cavachele the MVP.
Yes.
Is it because his skin is black? But it did more than Crava that year.
Yes, it did much more than.
And the way, because he wanted to leave, you can see the way he made the transfer difficult for him. Because even I think the admin made a post, I think she later apologized to him, but it's not acceptable for what that man. He brought your first Serie A in how many years? Since Diego Armando Maradona. So he deserves more respect,
He deserves a statue because Maradona's statue is there too.
That's a big topic, but he did very well, and he was the most influential player that campaign for them, no doubt.
And since he left,
no, they won it again.
They won it again. Scott McTominay did great, but in as much as Scott McTominay did great, his influence was not still up to Osimhen's influence.
No. See, like when we're talking about eras like the African football, let me regress back a bit. It was difficult for those players back then to thrive in Europe because the racism rates then was very high.
Yes.
And the trust and the level of exposure then was not much than now. Now it's easy for players in social media or help project talent online.
To easily push them to the
front line. You can see someone post a clip on how good he is, maybe he gets a message, they can invite him over.
Easily.
Yeah, but back then it was
not like
it was very difficult. It was blood and sweat for you to make it to the top level.
Yes.
That's why maybe they respect those legends more.
Yes.
So that's another crucial factor.
Yes,
even your body, managing your body, injuries. Injuries that can end your career or can slow you down, or now because of science and technology, there are better ways for you to heal from. Maybe an arm strain before can last for like 6 weeks. But nowadays there are ways maybe it can be like 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
And that can prolong your career. How injuries are detrimental to players' careers.
Players most times don't come back the same.
I remember a post I saw about a black player. He had this knee injury, like a little nibble. I don't know, the doctors during surgery, they made a mistake and he was in coma for years.
Okay, yes, he's a PSG player.
Yeah. So can you imagine that mistake being made in this our modern world? I don't think so.
It cannot happen.
So this is the different eras we're talking about.
Yes, the different era. Most times the mental toughness of these players back then, one thing I would definitely agree with is that back then the mental toughness was much more higher because those guys they strived, they did all they can. As you say, their blood and sweat went in for them to push Africa to the front of football entirely. Nowadays, what they normally do, what the current players just have to do is they are undergoing a lot of global scrutiny
Yeah.
because the legends, as we call them, they have already pushed us to the
Yeah.
front of the row. Now they can easily pick
Now they put us on the map easily.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they put us on the map easily. Now anyone can easily come out, showcase your talent, and one club from somewhere can easily pick you up. That is one area for sure. That is one area for sure. I know those legends that have done well in.
One thing I have to say again, one strong take I have to say is the players of old, the legends as we call them,
yes,
they had more passion playing for the Nigeria team. They had that commitment, to play for this Nigeria team. They didn't need insensitive. They wanted to go there and show. They wanted to make Nigeria, united, because football is something that unites us, different tribes, no matter what. Even as we support different clubs, but when Nigeria is playing, we are one, isn't it?
Yes.
So those men, they had passion for the game. They were ready to, keep their hand on the pitch. But I know that now, it's different eras. Right now, these current players, I don't see that passion enough. They are so reluctant. You see that body language. Some of them don't care. They don't really care about the Nigeria Super Eagles badge. I believe players of old, they will not care if maybe NFF has not paid them or not. They will want to play the game, and after the game, they will settle, the issue about the financial part. But these players, it's for NFF. I'm not trying to encourage what they are doing, but news will not come out like, oh, if you don't pay us, we won't play. I believe those players of old, they will rather play the game and face that issue rather than allow it to come to, better the coming games they had against, the Morocco side. If NFF don't pay, they don't pay, they're not going to play. Those news should not be coming out online. Yes. That's maybe a huge difference, for the players, and now.
Yes, me personally, I think the passion is not as much, but the passion is still there.
No, it is there, of course.
There are so many things now that can cause distractions to player, but me, I consider them also human. In as much as they are footballers and they have over 200 million people hoping on them, watching them, praying they succeed. Most times they still have to digress a little. Like Victor Alex Iwobi said, football is not his entire life. Yeah, football is important than the rest of them, but sometimes you also have to digress to do other things you love.
Of course, you have your personal life, you have your family to provide for.
Yes. Though the passion is still there, like somebody like Victor Osimhen, the reason why I love Victor Osimhen so much is his passion. It is rare for you to see somebody with that kind of passion in this modern day and time. But Collins, do you think these modern stars, they are more complete than those legends? Like the footballing aspect as a whole, do you think they are more complete?
That question is a really good one. In terms of technical ability and how complete of a footballer, maybe you're good with your head.
Yes.
You can strike a ball with your both foot. If you ask me, I'll go for the legends. I think they had more control. They had more, they are more composed with this football. They could do many things with the ball because they could score long range goals. Now the football has evolved a lot. You don't see lots of long range strikes anymore. People want to play close to the box. You try to find your teammates. Try to shoot to score. But back then, I think the players, they had more, like technical ability, positioning wise, and everything. More than these current players. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Completeness in football can be a very tricky word. Me personally, I feel if the modern players we have now, let me not say the very best of them, the ones that are okay-ish, they come together and maybe they have a manager like Pep with his tactics and everything put together. Me personally, I feel they would play better against those legends because of the way football has evolved. Football, as you said earlier, is more robotic. The sciences are there, the tactics are there. Most times players are not fully allowed to showcase their talents.
They must be strict with how the teams are set up
and the rest of them.
You must follow instructions.
Yes, those instructions.
And back then, I believe some certain players were allowed to express themselves more.
Yes.
They can give a coach out there maybe play free role.
Yes, you can play how you
yourself.
Like.
You have the liberty to roam around the pitch.
Yes.
But now you only see managers giving players those privileges anymore.
Yes.
Because everything is systematic.
Yes, you see the systematicness of this whole thing is why I feel if they should how would I put it, develop a tactics as Pep has done it. He has developed a tactics that without even signing the very best of the best, because personally I feel Arsenal players, they are not the best, but they are very good. The tactics involved is the main reason why.
You know, the tactics matters. You know,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Football is a team sport. You know, I know Arsenal players has come under fire, especially the past few weeks.
Yes.
You know, because our forward line has been underperforming. I'm not going to stand here and lie. But likewise, Manchester City player Erling Haaland has scored just one penalty goals, so just one in the last 11 Premier League games.
But yes,
Jeremy Doku 0 goals in the last 13 games. Phil Foden, why are they not projecting that star? Why is it Arsenal all the time?
No, it's everywhere. But
no, you don't see Man City's own that much because Arsenal, of course, when you're the best, you know, I understand. You can continue talking about us because we put ourselves in that situation. I believe if we were not in that position, it wouldn't be projected that much.
Yes, that's what.
Well, we have good players that have stepped up in different levels. Bukayo Saka has played in Euros finals, I think 2 times.
Yes, 2 times.
Carvalho won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Yes.
Gabriel Jesus won a couple of Premier Leagues in Manchester City.
Yes, he still won.
You know, so there are a couple of players in the team. You know, but we know as a core. You know, as the full Arsenal player, you know, the new generations, the ones that have been bought in, we have not gotten over the line yet. But mind you, that time is close. You know, leave sentiment and banter out of it. Arsenal has been trying.
Yes, Arsenal, they have
for the past 3 years, we finished second position. Don't you think it's high time we, you know, get over the finish line?
Yes,
you know, your team, you always project your team, but I think we have gotten to that level.
Yeah.
The manager has been backed enough, even this summer window. And I love our sporting director, Andre Beta. He came in, the key positions, he identified them and he got players in those positions. And now that's why we have that strong depth.
Yes.
We have had injuries that would have threatened our season. Our season would have gone sad more than the way it is.
Everybody has.
If you lose the Saliba, the season whereby Man City picked us to title, we lost Saliba. We had what's his name? I think was it Rob Holding or Kivio then?
Yes, Kivio.
You know, it just kept our titles hope. You know, it faded away in a second. So now we have missed Gabriel. What's his name? Nkapie stepped in. Timber is not available. But next to that, it's Timber.
Injury.
Bukayo Saka missed, I think, close to 6 weeks. Madueke came in, stepped in.
And played very well.
Every position. Carvalho has been missing for more than 4 months. You hardly notice. Different players stepping in. So I believe this should be our year. And it's, as an Arsenal fan, you know, it's going to be a tough one for us not to win the league this season because it's going to hurt a lot. Not just because of throws, because we worked hard enough to get this done. And we should get this done because I think we have the right mentality. You know, sometimes when you have not done something for long, you know, you start doubting yourself every little. I think the players should play freely. Take it one game at a time. And there's this thing I will say right now. If Arsenal wins the Premier League, we're going to dominate for a while. Mark this statement I'm making right now. We have been dominating in a way.
Yes,
but you know, there's not been showing because there are no titles to back. But if we get one, you know, the rest of the league will be behind us.
Okay.
It will be a strong force to reckon with for years to come.
One thing is, everybody has gotten injuries. Man City have injuries. Chelsea have injuries. If we are talking about injuries, if our star defender was available, we would not be where we are. But it would be a taboo.
So are you calling Cole your best defender?
Yes, Cole is our best defender. I can comfortably say that he's
your best defender.
He's a world champion. So I can comfortably say he's our best defender. If we should have our best defender currently, Cole, we would not be where we are today. And I would say it would be a big abomination for Arsenal to finish second again this season. But let's leave that and let's proceed. Statistically, goals, assists, trophies, and the rest of them. Have the modern stars in Africa done more than the legends did back then?
No.
They have not.
No. You see, the modern stars, Didier Drogba won the Champions League.
Yes, he won Champions League.
Samuel Eto'o won 2 trebles.
Two trebles.
In 2 consecutive years.
Back to back, yes.
And if I look currently now, how many current, you know, players, you know, we're talking about the Nigerian players or the African players, How many of them have won the Champions League?
We have
Sadio Mane
the money
and Mendy, or what's his name? Mo Salah.
Mo Salah, yes.
And which other player can I think of?
Madrid won it back to back to back. No African player there.
You see?
I don't think there's an African
Bayern
player.
Munich too. There's no African there.
There's no Man City. I don't think.
Yaya didn't win it.
Yaya didn't.
But Yaya won it to Barcelona.
Yes, he won it to.
So that's why you
see
this
so
legend.
important in that sense.
It doesn't mean.
Yes.
It doesn't mean the 2006 Champions League. Lionel Messi was not important, but it's still included in his trophies cabinet. The one they won my team Arsenal. Messi's name is still attributed to winning his first Champions League.
Yes. So,
Vermaelen from Arsenal went to Barcelona. How many football did he play?
He did not play.
He was just packing trophies without playing much. So, in as much as you're part of the team, then maybe you play the required number of games. Yeah, you're also you're a winner. You're part of the winning team.
Then, do you think there's in the last 10 years, like 2015 to date, do you think there's a particular year where an African player has been the best player in the world, but he was overlooked?
There are two players to come to mind, if you ask me, and that would be maybe Sadio Mane and his former teammate Mo Salah, because those players have been top performers. Especially Mo Salah, his numbers are mind blowing.
Yes.
He came into the league, after playing for Chelsea, and it didn't go well for him. He came back and he was a different beast. He won the Golden Boot. At the time, I think consecutively, he broke the all-time goal-scoring record in a particular season. Then, before Erling Haaland smashed it.
Yes.
So he was performing week in and week out. I believe if Liverpool won him Madrid in that Champions League, whereby Sergio Ramos injured Mo Salah's arm, if maybe Liverpool won that Champions League, I believe Mo Salah would have had a shout for that Ballon d'Or that year.
Yes, I also feel Mane finished fourth. 1 year, is it 2018 or 2019? I felt he was underrated in that season because that was the season they won the Champions League. The next season they won the Premier League. They finished second in the Premier League with 97 points.
Yeah, just Messi won the league by just 1 point gap. I think so.
So I feel he was massively underrated that season. Nevertheless, guys. At this point, I believe we have established some facts that in some areas the legends have done more.
I think I have one more question to ask you. Who do you think is the greatest African player?
We had a debate on our segment here some weeks back, me and a friend of mine, Intentional Michael, and we were discussing on some issues like this. And I made my point very clear that personally, I feel Didier Drogba has had a lot more of impact on current African players than any other person you would want to call. But Samuel Eto'o can be considered the best African player ever, maybe in terms of goals, trophies, and the rest of them. But most players look more to Didier Drogba than any other person. That is my personal opinion on it.
No, fair enough. Football is more than what is done on the pitch. Didier Drogba carries himself in such a way whereby he's adored by fans all over the world, especially in his native of Ivory Coast. Drogba won the African Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. He did. Yes. Even if he has not won the African Cup of Nations. But when he came from Marseille, he was a relatively unknown player. And the way he performed for Chelsea, winning league titles, and one of the best moments of his career is when he won the Champions League.
Yes.
But if you ask me in the different context, in terms of achievements and everything, I would have to say Samuel Eto'o, because Samuel Eto'o, he won at the biggest level. He did. But Samuel Eto'o, he did it with two teams. He won with Jose Mourinho's Inter, a treble, and also with Barca, Pep Guardiola, a treble, and also he had more league titles.
Yes.
So that is a very important fact to take note, because we're talking about football here.
Yes.
Despite maybe other impacts you will have on the society, on how to eradicate a lot of things, or to provide new opportunities for the generation players. And Didier Drogba now does a lot of things. I think I don't know if he's pursuing a coaching career, but sometimes you can see him as a host in FIFA events. Samuel Eto'o, I think, is the current the current president of their federation.
Yes.
And I don't think they appreciate that much because I think it's causing more good. It's causing more harm than good.
Yes.
Because it's making a lot of controversial decisions.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so sometimes this thing should not be forced. If you are what's the role, okay, they give it to you. If you can't, you step back.
Yes.
I remember Shevchenko being, is he the manager of Ukraine or is he the president of the federation?
The manager.
You know, I think he stepped down when things were not going well.
Not
He should not force things. It's not because you're a great player doesn't mean you're going to become the best coach. Most football managers during their playing days, they average.
Yes.
You know, so that's about that.
Before we end our segment, do you think there's any young African player that we should look up to?
You know, in terms of promising stars.
Yes.
Which player comes to mind? You know, you mean Nigerian or African in general?
Entirely.
Yeah, Africa. There's a player, I don't know if you know him. He plays for Paris Saint-Germain. He's a Senegalese. I think he is 17 years old. He's about to turn 18. I think it's Mbaye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
He's won a lot of trophies.
He has won a lot.
Yeah, for PSG, and he just won the AFCON.
Yes.
And you can see that maturity in him.
Yes.
So that is a good player to watch in the future because Senegal currently, for me, they're producing the best African talent right now.
Yes.
I can call it. Yeah, what's his name? That scored the winner. That plays for Villarreal, the left footer.
Yes.
Or what's that his name?
Papis, something like that. Something Guille.
I've forgotten his name, but he plays for that's another good player that I look out for. This summer that's coming, I can see that guy going to a bigger club because his left foot is magic. I see how he strikes the ball with a lot of conviction, and most of his balls, you know, he strikes very well from outside the box, and his accuracy is right on point. Yeah. So for me, that Senegalese player Mbaye is currently one of the best African players to look out for, and we'll see how he develops and how he evolves his game. You know, also maybe he becomes a regular starter or maybe goes to another bigger team and showcase his talent because talents like that needs to be playing, you know, often than they are doing right now.
Okay, for me, I'll mention someone that I've spoken a lot about, Chris Inawi Ulai, the Trabzonspor 19-year-old Cote d'Ivoire midfielder. Few weeks back, it was reported that Chelsea, Man City, PSV, Galatasaray, they are all interested in him. I 100% believe he's going to the top. You can check him out. He's a very diminutive 8, can tackle, can dribble, can
I don't think I've really heard about him that much. I'll check him out.
You can check him out. He played for Trabzonspor. He was signed from Brest, League 2.
Is he a regular on the team?
Yes, he's a starter. He's their Mr. Consistent, a top player. I 100% believe he will go to the top. So guys, thank you for joining us in this segment. You can follow us, subscribe, follow the Don Views on Instagram. And
the Don Zone, that's the name.
The Don Zone on Instagram. And follow Footy with Marvis on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us for more amazing content on African football and African players in the diaspora as well. Thank you guys. Watch out for more.